Hello, everybody. My name is Aaron Cohen. I am the Junior Boys Division Head.
And I'm Saul Wozniak, the Digital Media Specialist.
And welcome to 10 for 2, a Camp Laurelwood podcast. Today, we're here with someone incredibly special, and that is Ken Yaffe, the Boys Head Counselor.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Ken. So, Ken, it is great to have you on here, and we'd love to ask you a few questions.
Sure. Go right ahead.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your time as a camper?
Sure, Aaron. I mean, to tell you the truth, I only had 2 years as a camper here, 68 and 69, 1968 and 1969, quite a while ago.
Oh, interesting.
But I'll tell you the things I do remember. I remember having a great counselor that I often talk about, Bill Ortman, and Jimmy Wolf, who ended up being the director one of the years that I was here, was in the next bunk over. And he was... It was all sports back then, so it was really good for a guy like me who was athletic.
All right, awesome.
And what would you say, from your experience as a camper, what do you miss the most from that time?
Wow. I mean, I miss the guys that were in my bunk. And when I was in bunk 13, there was about 3 or 4 guys that I kept in touch with for a long time. But we fell out of touch, as it often happens when you're talking about 51 years ago. So seeing them at reunions, it was always great. But I do miss the camaraderie between all of us that we had.
Right.
Man, that's amazing. So after a camper, what did you do here at Camp Laurelwood?
Well, then I became a CIT, which now is called an SIT. Then I became a general counselor, or a junior counselor. Then I became a general counselor. And then I had many other jobs as in the super seniors, whether it be head of all the super seniors, head of the boys super seniors. I had a lot of odd jobs around camp, and it evolved into the boys head counselor the last 10 years.
I know that there was a point in time where there were waiters at camp where you moved from, instead of having bonim, which is what we have now, you moved from a super senior to a waiter. Did that not intercept with your timing?
It did. I mean, when I was a camper, I had waiters, and they were a lot of fun. I mean, I remember the couple waiters that I had, and it wasn't like it is now where we have to do all the stacking and everything. They did it for you,
right?
So it was pretty fun and pretty good actually for the camper.
Huh?
I can imagine.
That's like really awesome. So, how has camp changed since you were, a camper, since you were working here?
Well, that's one of the big ways with the waiters that has changed. But we used to go and watch a movie in the rec hall, Saul, where we would be dripping sweat with 100 degrees or 95 degrees, or whatever it was.
Wow. And
now, thanks to guys like Henry and Stu Katz, we have AC in there.
Yeah, AC.
And that AC is a big deal in the rec hall. And then lots of kids are not as interested in athletics as they were. Now, I be honest with you, if you had told me there was an arts and crafts when I was in camp, and there was, I would have never known where it was. So that's for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely a shift from, even when I was a camper 5 or 6 years ago, when most of the activities were sports, to now where we have things like woodworking, and arts and crafts is much more of a big activity. And
I think a lot of that, just to interrupt you for a second, Aaron,
no, of course,
a lot of that has to do with sports camps.
Oh, for sure.
And the fact that kids opt to go there, and the parents opt to send them there, and this is what you have more, and it's in a way it's very good because you have more stuff to choose from.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would agree. I would agree 100%.
So what is your, I gotta know this, what is your favorite new thing that Camp Laurelwood has adopted recently? Because, with Ari, when he came in, I was talking with him, and he was talking to me about how he really said about kind of changing camp. So what is...
Oh, man. I mean, I can tell you that my favorite thing about Ari is the way he came in and just threw enthusiasm at the camp. I mean, the way the kids sing during meals, there was none of that when I was... We had some chants, during the meals, but we never had singing and dancing and everything he's got going on. He really between Ari and Lewis, they've thrown a lot of good stuff into the camp as far as energy, and that's really the significant change for me, just to see the energy and the enthusiasm in the kids.
Man, I love that so much.
Yeah, you can tell how much Ari and Lewis care about the camp, and when they came in, you could feel how gung-ho they were about bringing this camp back up and putting it on its feet and making it successful after a bit of a down couple of years, and they've really had success with that.
Yeah, the specialists as well, and I know working with them that each one of them is really committed to kind of, making their specialty better and making that a highlight of camp. And
well, yeah, and you know what the thing is, Saul, when I came in to camp as a counselor, finishing my CIT year, then I was a counselor the next year, we had some English counselors.
Right.
And I made some good friends, but there were probably 3 or 4.
Uh-huh.
Now, there's an abundant amount of English counselors or international staff, and I think it's a good thing because I think that it's a good mesh between the international staff and the U.S. staff. I haven't seen any problems due to the fact that they're internationals. You know what I mean? And they bring a lot of good stuff to the table.
Yeah, they bring so much cultural awareness and diversity, and I'm learning.
And I
so
want
much.
to work too.
Exactly. Yeah, they really want to, and that's amazing.
And something that I would say is so great about the international staff and the American staff together is that when the international staff come to camp and they meet all these American people, there are a lot of pre-existing American friend groups just because these people have been coming to camp over and over. And what that allows for is British people to slip into these American friend groups really easily.
Absolutely. And to just piggyback off that, on top of it, when the British now, who have been coming back to camp, now they see their friends who are Americans or British or wherever they're from, and it just creates a nice environment. They haven't seen these people in maybe 10 months, and it's nice to see.
Of course,
100%.
So, I have to know, what are you most excited for coming up?
You know what? All the kids, they love the Big O.
Yeah.
I always get a kick out of it. I mean, I enjoy judging. It's fun to see the kids competing. Yeah. And when you got 4 teams, it's fun to see everybody competing one against the other. I had, a funny part of my teams were when I was captain or general, my teams were terrible when I was captain or general, and so I never got to be on a winning team. When I was captain or general, and when Isaac was my kid, Isaac, who's general now, or was a general, they were all on losing teams. So it's nice that he's carried on the tradition.
Runs in the family.
Big O's such a funny thing because even just last night I was talking to a British counselor and he was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't even know what this thing is. What should I can't even be excited. And all I could really say was just wait and see what happens.
Absolutely.
You love it.
It's sort of like having a British counselor come here and see orientation for the first time. That's for those 2 days or for those 5 days, that's all they think camp is. But we always say, what do we say here? We say, wait till the kids come, because that's what it's all about.
It's so different. You're right. And, there are a lot of things at camp that you can't really describe. You can't really tell them how to expect something or what it's going to be like. You just have to throw yourself into it. In general, that's such a big concept at camp, is throwing yourself into something and giving your 100%, even though you maybe don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Big question that I'm sure is in a lot of people's minds that know you. It's in my mind. What would you say sticks out in your mind as something that keeps you coming back here time and time again?
Well, just the general camaraderie between the campers and the counselors. The campers are the things that really keep me coming back. I don't really enjoy when it's orientation. I like when the campers come because you see all the smiling faces, and I see now it's different for me because I see my campers' parents are kids that I had,
right?
And now some of even the grandparents I was with in camp, so that throws me a different perspective, and it's fun to see. It's fun to see a grandparent sit down and talk to me and tell me that I was in bunk 12 with him. It's kind of weird, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, if if you were to give advice to a new camper or even a parent who's bringing a new camper, what would you say is some of the most important things that they should know coming to camp?
Well, I would say that if you're going to send your kid, you just have to let her or him go and not, I don't say not to worry, because it's always a worry for a parent to drop off their kid and not see them for especially for the first time, not see them for all those weeks. But trust, just have trust that this is the best camp, and you guys, you've been here enough to know that, everybody's friendly. You see kids, and there's a couple of kids now in the super seniors who are, even if they have special needs, nobody treats them like that. Yeah. Everybody's treated the same way. And that's what I think is the best part of camp. And I would tell the parents, look, you have nothing to worry about. Your kid's going to be taken care of. You just have to trust in the process. Trust the process. That's what I would tell them.
Yeah. It's something. Yeah. What are you gonna say?
Totally agree with that. That's what I've really seen. Last year and this year, and it's just one of the reasons I came back, honestly, because of how inclusive everyone is, and how just amazing the staff are in really every aspect.
Yeah, I would agree. I think something that's incredible about this place is, the counselors, we're not trained professionals. We don't go to school to be a counselor, but there's just something about, being a counselor and having experience that we just are able to handle our campers in such a precise way.
That's why I often say to the kids, Aaron, you've heard me say it, so of course. I say to the kids, to the counselors, when I first meet them, I say, if you went to camp, and most of the kids did, mm-hmm. Can you give me your best counselor, and why is he your best counselor? Can you give me your worst counselor, and why is he your worst counselor? Because you have to know. The counselors that are coming on board have to see why they were their best counselor, so that they can in turn, do some of the things that counselor did. Now, it's not the same era. We used to get our kids fribbles, in camp. We used to bring them into the bunk. Now you can't have food in the bunk. Mm. So nobody does it to be mean. They just do it because it's a different set of circumstances now. We used to have kids hug trees, as you've often heard somebody say when they came in. I think Glenn Duell came in and said, "Oh, Kenny used to have me hug a tree." Well, it's true, we did, but by the same time, when they hugged the tree, they loved it, and then they got a fribble that night, which made it twice as good.
Right.
Yeah.
And it happened when I was a camper too. I did my share of stuff that I really didn't want to do, but it turned out well.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting dichotomy to try and think back, because it's something I always think to do. I think back to my favorite counselors. Someone springs to mind, Brendan Marks, one of my favorite counselors. Often I think back to things that he would do. Or
mess around with you, right?
Yeah. And just like, I think, how can I be like he was, but in camp today? Yeah.
That's a tough thing, because there's a lot of stuff that B did that wouldn't be considered kosher today.
Right, and there was nothing. He was an amazing counselor.
Yeah,
There's nothing he did that.
No, he did nothing wrong.
Yeah, he was extremely fun. But there are just there are things that, like waking campers up late at night to do fun things, is just something that the camp has moved on from. And
actually, Aaron, let me interrupt you for a second. The world has moved on from.
Yeah,
it's world. Not just camp.
Of course, yeah. Camp is moving with the world.
Yeah.
So it's just adjustments that you have to make from generation to generation without, completely losing the sense of continuity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. If I were to pick a phrase to represent Camp Laurelwood and every aspect of it, I would say constantly improving.
Oh, for sure.
Because that's what we're doing. We're really constantly improving.
For sure. And what makes me most pleased is the fact that we got more boys than we had last year, which is, we're filling up the bunks again. We filled 20% more bunks than we did last year. We only had 4 or 5. Now we have 5 or 6. It's great, and we're hoping to just keep going and going and going until we get this place filled again. Yeah. Now, like I told you, the sports camp is something that we have to compete against, but we're well aware of it. And another great thing, as I'm sitting here looking at Aaron, is to see my campers now growing up to be division heads and working for me. That's a different kind of thing, and it's nice to see, and nice to see them doing a good job also.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly strange because it's true when I was a camper, you were still the head counselor, and you're the head counselor now, but I think it brings a really great perspective for me, I feel like, as a division head now, to think back to when I was a camper and think, what did I enjoy and what did I not enjoy as a camper? Because that's really the perspective you want to be looking back on, is what do the campers enjoy, what do the campers not enjoy, and try to make adjustments and plans that cater to those opinions. And I think that also with the new positions that we're bringing to camp, like program coordinator and head of creative arts and things like this, we're really improving our programs and the way we look at our activities to make things more enjoyable for kids. And you can feel the improvements. It's
without a
really
doubt.
evident.
All right, Ken, thank you so much for speaking with us. Folks, that will do for this installment of 10 for 2, a Camp Laurelwood podcast. Until next time, my name's Saul Wozniak.
I'm Aaron Cohen.
And Ken Yaffe. Nice to see you guys, and thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thank you so much. We're signing off. Take care, everybody.